Raise your hand if you're tired of eating bland, boring, acid reflux friendly food. Number one, if you raise your hand, you're adorable. Two, you're in the right place. My name is Molly and I struggled with GERD for over a decade, and I started this YouTube channel to share acid reflux friendly recipes and my journey with overcoming GERD. And today I'm a registered dietitian and I've helped hundreds of people overcome reflux. I specialize in acid reflux, GERD, and LPR. And in this video, I'm going to share with you an acid reflux GERD friendly, high protein meal idea that you can make for your family and friends, and they're gonna love it. I'm also going to show you a few pantry staples that I personally use all the time to make acid reflux friendly meals flavorful and delicious, but also not bothersome for your symptoms if you're currently struggling with reflux. And if you are struggling with GERD or LPR, I highly recommend taking a look at the acid reflux playlist I have. I have loads of videos, recipes, how-tos, and remedies. Definitely go check this out. And so I personally had gastroesophageal reflux disease and I was on PPIs for over a year. I was able to wean off of those medications and I no longer have gastroesophageal reflux disease. And what was really, really important for me was not only thinking about what I was eating, but the way I was living. So having a holistic approach to my health, and I share a lot about that journey in this video here, so you can go and check that out for the full story on how I overcame GERD. But for today, we will get right to it. And I'll show you a few things that I got this morning at the farmer's market. So this morning we took a really nice long hike in the Presidio, which is this area of San Francisco that is gorgeous. And then we went to the farmer's market and I picked up the veggies that I'm gonna roast on the side of this dish that we're making. The reason that I'm mentioning this is because if you are struggling with reflux and you're not taking time to do things that bring you joy, like hiking or going to yoga or crafts, whatever brings you joy, if you're not doing those things, then you're actually like trying to put together a puzzle with 50% of the pieces missing. It doesn't matter how good you are at puzzling. If you're missing these critical pieces, you're not going to put the puzzle together. And that is how I feel about stress management and having joy in your life when it comes to finding relief from reflux. You could have the perfect diet. You could be doing everything right, but if you don't get your stress management under control, and if you don't have sources of joy to nourish your vagus nerve, then it's going to be very hard for you to recover from acid reflux. It's going to be very hard for the tissue to heal, because stress is a major root cause of reflux. I talk a lot about this on my pages, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, but you really have to be managing stress. So for me, getting outdoors is really, really important, and so I was really grateful for that time today. All right, let's go see what I got at the farmer's market. So many good things at the farmer's market today. I picked up some zucchini, this absolutely beautiful purple, I think it's like baby cauliflower is what they call this. The only reason I know that is because it's at Trader Joe's. And then I also got some strawberries and some more cauliflower and broccoli for the week. I'm gonna be roasting the zucchini tonight, and that's what's gonna go on the side of the sesame crusted tofu we're making. So this recipe, I actually got the inspiration from this video on Instagram that I will insert and link down below, and I'm going to adapt it to be acid reflux friendly, and I'll kind of tell you the steps I'm taking to make the recipe acid reflux friendly. But I'm gonna go ahead and wash these and then preheat the oven to 425 to get started. After preheating the oven, the second part of this recipe is to press your tofu. So if you have extra firm tofu, you actually don't have to do this, but the tofu that I was using is just the regular, like medium firm, so I want it to be really nice and dense. And tofu is a really acid reflux friendly protein because it doesn't have any fat. It is a good source of calcium and iron. And it's also really inexpensive, so it's a great weeknight dinner option that won't break the bank. Okay, so what I'm doing first is making the sesame coating that's gonna go on the outside. And the original recipe of the sesame coating had garlic and onion powder, so I'm actually gonna be replacing those garlic and onion powders with the Gourmand seasoning garlic and onion powders. So these Gourmand garlic and onion seasonings are actually reflux friendly because they only use the green part of the onion and garlic. So the garlic scapes, like the top of the onion and garlic, it's really the bulb of the onion and garlic that contain compounds that can loosen the lower esophageal sphincter, that sphincter that connects the stomach to the esophagus temporarily. So I'm just gonna switch it out. But some people with reflux do tolerate onion and garlic powder no problem. For me personally, when I had GERD, onion and garlic were not a trigger for me. So if you tolerate them just fine, feel free to use them, or feel free to use any other herbs and seasonings you like. If you have dried sumac, if you have dried basil, thyme, oregano, that would also be delicious. And now I'm adding in here a mixture of sesame seeds. It's white and black sesame seeds, which I think are going to be so beautiful on outside of the tofu and give it a nice crust. I also added in here nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast is something that needs to be in your pantry if you struggle with acid reflux. The reason being is because nutritional yeast contains loads of B vitamins, and B vitamins can be a little bit low if you are on acid suppression. So if you take a PPI like omeprazole or an H2 blocker, you want to make sure you're getting enough B vitamins, and nutritional yeast is a really easy way to add this to your diet. So you can throw it on your eggs, on your meats, veggies. I love roasting veggies in this. So this will give you lots of B12 and 8 grams of protein per 2 tablespoons, which is absolutely amazing. Actually, a really crazy story about B12 deficiency. I had a client come to me who is having lots of heart palpitations, and heart palpitations are especially confusing if you have reflux, because sometimes people with reflux have esophageal spasms. So if you've ever felt like twitching or some like random movement in the chest area, or if you feel like you've had heart palpitations but you've had a cardiac workup and nothing's there, it may be esophageal spasms, which can happen from repeated reflux. Now, this person was having reflux, but they also were having these heart palpitations, and their doctor told them it was from a B12 deficiency. So they had their B12 level tested, and it was super, super low. So, you know, something to look out for. It could be reflux, but it could also be a B12 deficiency. And especially if you're on PPI, you want to watch out for those nutrient deficiencies. So the nutritional yeast is in here. I'm going to give it a shake. Now I'm going to add a little bit of salt. And salt is something that I love to use in my cooking. I don't shy away from salt. If you have high blood pressure, that might be one reason why you would. But salt really helps to bring out the flavors of your foods and gives you minerals, sodium, and chloride to help support your overall health, and also regular bowel movements. Fun fact, if you don't have enough minerals, it's actually really hard to go to the bathroom. So you do want to try to make sure you're having enough minerals. That's why I have the homemade electrolyte video. Go look at that homemade electrolyte video, because it's an electrolyte powder that you can actually have that doesn't have citric acid in it. So go check that out. All right, the next thing I'm adding is the zest of 1 lime. And lime zest, or lemon zest, if you didn't know, is actually reflux friendly. So although citrus fruits like lemon, lime, grapefruit, they can be irritating for those with reflux or laryngopharyngeal reflux, the symptoms of the throat symptoms of reflux especially, you can do the zest. The zest is non-acidic, and it's a really, really great way to add flavor. So I'm going to be adding the whole zest in here. And if you're nervous about adding in a food, like say the thought of giving lemon zest or lime zest a try gives you a lot of anxiety, just start small. Start with a little bit of lime zest. Like, don't put the whole thing in if you're feeling nervous. Starting small with new flavors, new foods is the best way to start. I had a client who was absolutely terrified of food because every time she ate anything, she would have a ton of reflux symptoms. So she started to really mistrust food. And this is the same place that I was in. I was terrified of food. I thought that food was the root cause of my symptoms. And that led to a ton of food anxiety for me. I was always thinking that whenever I had a reflux symptoms after I ate, it was the food that was causing the reflux, and that was actually not true. Although there are certain foods that can cause reflux, and I have a whole video about the worst foods for reflux, because certain foods can contribute to symptoms. For the most part, the root cause of your reflux symptoms is not food. There's usually a deeper root cause that is causing the symptoms, whether that is a structural abnormality or potentially stress, usually multiple things. So no one has just one root cause. There's usually multiple things at play. And that's what we've learned by working with hundreds of people with reflux, that there's multiple root causes. Even if you have a lower esophageal sphincter issue, even if you have a hiatal hernia, there's usually other root causes that we can address to modify and get you symptom relief. All right, so all of the zest is in there. I'm gonna give that a mix. All right, now I'm gonna make the batter that's going to soak onto the tofu and allow the tofu to pick up this nice, delicious crust. In here is 1/3 of a cup of oat flour. I actually decided to use oat flour because I didn't have whole wheat flour like the recipe called for, and 2 tablespoons of flax meal. So I'm gonna mix that up. Flax meal is another pantry staple that really should be in your pantry if you struggle with digestive issues, because flax meal is your best friend if you have constipation. 2 tablespoons a day of flax meal can really help get you enough fiber so you can have healthy, regular bowel movements. When I had IBS, I had IBS as well as GERD. I was terrified of fiber. Fiber I thought was my worst enemy, and it turned out to be my best friend, because when you have regular bowel movements, it improves everything. It helps with reflux, it helps with bloating. So I highly recommend getting some flax meal. Into the batter is gonna go a half a cup of almond milk. That's what the recipe calls for, but you could probably use any other milk that you have if you have something else that you want to do. And a tablespoon of tamari. Tamari is another great reflux-friendly way to add flavor. If you don't want to use tamari, you could also use coconut aminos. Coconut aminos is amazing, another great way to add flavor. A lot of the sauce recipes, salad dressing recipes use coconut aminos. On the Flora app. The Flora app is my app that has a ton of reflux-friendly recipes. It's basically your guide to overcoming reflux in your pocket. You can ask a question on the app, you can access loads of resources, modules, step-by-step information to help you overcome reflux. And this recipe will definitely be going on the app, because this is a perfect one for those who are on a vegan diet or just looking to up their protein intake, or a quick, delicious weeknight recipe. All right, so your batter should be pretty thick, and that's what's going to help, again, coat the tofu. Realized I forgot one important detail in our coating, our sesame seed coating, is panko crumbs. If you are gluten-free, you could definitely swap this for some gluten-free breadcrumbs, and I'm gonna add the panko into our mixture. When I had GERD, my doctor basically told me I'd have to be on a bland diet forever. He was like, good luck, you're on a PPI for the rest of your life, and you have to eat bland forever. And so I took it upon myself to prove him wrong and wean off my PPI, overcome my reflux symptoms, and also expand my diet. And now I do consume reflux triggers. I do consume them in moderation. Like, I can't go overboard with alcohol, I can't go overboard with tomato sauce, but I do have them on occasion without an issue. Okay, so now I'm gonna be just slicing the tofu in about 1-inch slices, just like this. And your tofu should be pretty dry so it gets nice and crispy. I'm gonna give it a dunk in our batter. Make sure it's nice and coated in the batter, and then right into the sesame seed coating. And make sure that it coats pretty thoroughly, because you want that nice, crispy, crunchy outer coating. And then start to lay them on a parchment covered baking sheet. Parchment is also your best friend in the kitchen, because it's gonna make sure that your little sesame tofu bites don't stick to the pan. All right, now that those are done, the finished product should look like this. And I'm gonna spray it with just a little bit of avocado oil so it's nice and crispy. It's gonna go into the oven at 425 for 15 minutes. Just sprayed it with that avocado oil, and then after 15 minutes, you'll flip it and it'll cook for about another 10. My clients always ask me when I have time to prep my veggies, and the truth is, whenever I have an extra second, I will just throw some veggies in the oven. I am a huge fan of roasting veggies, and so what I'll do is I'll just chop all of this up, spray it with avocado oil, throw my favorite seasonings on it. I do have leftover of those gourmand seasonings I'm going to use. I do have the discount code and link for the gourmand seasonings as well, the reflux-friendly seasonings down below. And then I'll throw some salt on there, and then just set a timer for like 25 minutes, walk away, do something else, organize something, and I'll come back and my veggies are done. So roasting is really the way to go, because they get so crispy and delicious. And I love that you're just like multitasking while they're cooking. You don't have to stand there and watch them or saute. It's way easier than sauteing. Another question I get all the time from my clients is, what veggies can I eat or are the best for me if I have acid reflux? And sometimes when you're thinking about meal ideas, all you can think about is what you can't have. So we think about like tomatoes and peppers, spicy things, but actually there's so many vegetables that are totally reflux friendly. Zucchini is a nice alkaline veggie, asparagus, cauliflower, broccoli, carrots, green beans, endive, fennel. I have a free reflux-friendly grocery list down below, so that would be a great place to start if you're like, you know, I don't even know what to get at the grocery store, and you get to the grocery store and you're feeling super overwhelmed, kind of wandering the aisles, not sure what to get. My grocery guide will be really, really helpful for you. So it is a list of reflux-friendly fruits, veggies, proteins, also condiments like the coconut aminos. There's other things in there that can help to flavor your food. Fresh herbs you can use to flavor, dried herbs. So definitely take a look at that. So with my tofu, I'm going to have roasted cauliflower, or roasted zucchini, as you can see. And then I'm also gonna make some white rice. And that is gonna be a complete meal for me, super easy. The white rice I'm gonna make in my rice cooker. What I tell my clients that their meals should have is a protein, a carb, and a plant. So your body actually needs all of those components to have a healthy digestive system. Protein is essential because your gut is a muscle and your gut needs protein to function and work well. Your cells need protein to work. Your digestive enzymes are made from proteins. So really, really key that you're getting enough protein. Plants have a million benefits for your gut health. They have fiber, which helps to lift up healthy bacteria in your gut. They also help with regularity, help your body remove stool and remove waste, which you need to have healthy, regular bowel movements if you're struggling with reflux, especially if you have a hernia, because excess pressure from constipation can push upwards and create problems, especially if you have a hernia. So antioxidants, anti-inflammatory support, really helping in reducing inflammation. So veggies are key, but also carbs. And carbs are kind of controversial in the nutrition world in general, but carbs are key because they help you with motility. So have you ever been on like a low carb diet where you removed carbs and then you became constipated? Carbohydrates like sweet potatoes and quinoa and farro, whole grains like that, popcorn, corn is actually a whole grain. They help also support your bowel regularity by giving you fiber. And carbs are energy. Carbs are your body and your brain's best source of fuel. So really important. Also, your thyroid and your hormones are really sensitive to when you're in a carbohydrate deficit, and that can cause slower motility if your hormones are out of whack. So I try to make sure that all my meals have a protein, a carb, and a plant. All right, so avocado oil on everything. I got this massive bottle of avocado oil at Costco. Let me know if you want me to make a video of reflux-friendly Costco finds. I've done it on Instagram, TikTok, and Shorts on here. If you want me to make a longer form video at Costco, let me know. All right, so again, with the gourmand, I'm gonna throw some of that on here. Always have sesame seeds on hand as well. They just give a really nice crunch to my veggies. A little bit of color as well. Then I have some of this leftover panko and nutritional yeast. So I'm actually just gonna sprinkle that on here because it has a lot of flavor. Into the oven for about 30-ish minutes or so, or until they're fork tender. All right, friends, this is kind of how you want your veggies to look. Nice and golden brown, fork tender. And this is how you want your tofu to look. You can hear how hot it still is. When you take it out, it should be nice and crispy. You should get a nice crust. When I flipped them, I did spray them with a little bit more avocado oil. The sesame coating came out absolutely perfect. It's so crunchy. You could definitely drizzle this with a little bit of garlic infused olive oil, which, by the way, garlic infused olive oil is another one of my lifesavers. I had a client come to me the other day and she was like, "What? You're telling me I can eat garlic infused olive oil? Garlic is my favorite. I miss it so much." And so she's been using it in everything, and it's been really helping her get that garlic flavor without the garlic clove. All right, now I'm gonna build my bowl. So I ended up putting a little extra tamari on my rice and my greens, but this came out so delicious and would have taken me less than 20 minutes if I didn't spend so much time filming this video. Such a delicious, reflux-friendly, GERD-friendly, and low FODMAP meal. It's actually totally low FODMAP except for the whole wheat flour. If you want to use a gluten-free flour, then that would be a low FODMAP recipe. Full recipe is in the description down below. All right, my friends, if this video was helpful to you, please give this video a like, comment down below, let me know if you want to see more reflux-friendly recipes, and definitely grab my free reflux-friendly grocery guide down below. I recently just released this other video on my gut-friendly, GERD-friendly meal prep. So this is a bunch of stuff that I usually prep for the week to help support my gut health, and it's all reflux friendly. So if you want more recipes, definitely head to this video. Be sure to subscribe down below to join the family, and I will see you in the next video.